Hello, world history students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 31, Section 1, African Nations Gain Independence. In number 1, the desire for self-government and the whole movement of nationalism led many peoples to seek independence from the British and the French after World War II. And the withdrawal of colonial powers from their colonies and areas of influence is called decolonization. And this really became evident kind of at the start of the 1950s as governments in Great Britain and France having to rebuild their nations after the Second World War felt that it would be easier to let go of these colonies, and they did. The first British colony to achieve independence was the Gold Coast, which would be later renamed Ghana. And Ghana achieved independence when the British decided to hold elections for the National Assembly. A man named Kwame Nkrumah won the majority and eventually embarked on a campaign of self-government and independence. And soon the British granted the colony full independence. In Kenya, we had a rebel insurgency against white settlers, and this began in the 1960s. In one case, you had white British citizens that were being attacked. And in a way, this led to some of those citizens to leave Kenya and to travel to safer places, either in India or back to Great Britain. The peoples in French colonies were given a choice and granted independence. The Portuguese in the Belgium colonies having difficulty achieving independence because they hung on to their colonies until violence forced them to decolonize. The Portuguese, they colonized Angola and the Portuguese Guinea and also Mozambique, while the Belgium colonized Belgium, Congo. Portugal ultimately withdrew from Africa due to war and a military coup d'etat that drained Portugal's economy. And this coup d'etat happens kind of in the late 1960s, beginning of the 70s. And certainly there was a certain period of instability in that part of Africa. But in time, it's kind of grown a little bit more stable. In South Africa, the Afrikaners, these are people who are descendants of the Dutch and other European settlers, particularly the British. They fought to keep Black Africans from participating in South African government. And they passed a series of laws that became known as apartheid. In number 11, apartheid in 1948, these were segregation laws. It was a system that kept Europeans, Asians, Black Africans, and coloreds would be individuals of kind of a mixed race, separate from one another. And the word apartheid basically means apartness. People had to live in different areas. So if you were, a European, you had a segregated area. If you were an Asian, segregated area, Black, segregated area. And that may also vary according to the darkness of your skin. But they had to attend separate social gatherings. They could only hold certain jobs. Some jobs would be forbidden from each group. There was little or no protection by the law for anyone who was in the minority. Thank you very much.